FinTech runs fast, especially when you talk about the entire ecosystem. You've got to teach the users, win the customers. Also, you have to stay compliant all at once. And it's a very high pressure, high growth environment. That also makes creativity a challenge, you know, and you have to look at the creativity way beyond a campaign model and more like an infrastructure. And the way you set it up decides if the user will stick with you, will they remember you, and will they trust you. Hi, I'm Rachita Sharma, VP of Strategy and Growth at FTA Global, and you're watching another insightful episode of CMO Brand Perspective at Marketing Stack 2025. Today we are going to talk about how can we build the creative systems and build that at scale from a very different point of view, from a growth marketing point of view. And to talk about that, we have Mr. Manish Srivastava, Head of Growth at Sahi.com. Manish has led marketing at Paytm, BharatPe, Jupiter, and now Sahi. You know, very high growth, high pressure environments. He has led those marketing initiatives and he absolutely knows how to keep the creativity structured, to enable to work in that high pressure environments. Of course, from a different lens, from a growth marketing lens. Manish, we are very excited to have you on the show, and we are really looking forward to learn some core insights from you in terms of what the future of creative also looks like when it comes to a fintech brand. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Rishita. Thanks for inviting me and happy to be here.
So Manish, in terms of we'll go back to your early lessons, in terms of your experience and when you were working with different creative units, especially at Paytm and BharatPe, right? Those are very high sprint environment. So how was your experience? How did you manage that scalability, from the growth marketing perspective?
So, look, at Paytm, we have a very large team who manages the overall creativity, and we divide it into two parts. First is your in-house creatives, which is for CRM, push notifications, emailers, WhatsApp, or
Right.
in-app banners. And second is the communications or the creative, which is going to the external world, which we use in new user acquisitions or retargeting ads. Back then, AI was not evolved, and in Paytm at that moment, I'm talking about 2015 to 2020. And back then, AI was not there, and everything is driven by manual things, right? So within Paytm, we have multiple verticals as well. One is your core Paytm app, then we have Paytm Mall, travel, e-com, then your entertainment. Multiple business units are there. So
Right.
yes, the team was big, but creative requirement was even bigger. And we to solve that, first of all, we built templates to be used in marketing either on the CRM site or for the new user acquisition, and then replicate the core messaging within that template, and that would be easy for everyone, and quick turnaround time was there.
Right. And how did you navigate during those lot of high tension environment? How did you navigate those challenges? Because I think when we talk about creativity scale, we ultimately talk about creating something in bulk, right? But at the same time, there is a huge challenge of maintaining the quality, right? So was there any process or a framework that you and the creative units were following?
So yes, when creative volume was high, so definitely sometimes quality takes a hit as well. But we built a system in house that starting from the brief to the end output, and in creative we measure the CTR at that moment, and CTR was the guideline for creative team as well. For all the
Right.
creatives that we are running for multiple business unit, we on a weekly basis, we discuss, we get on a call and share the metrics that which sort of communication, which sort of creative, which sort of hook is performing, and basis
Right.
on that our content team, our creative team is working and crafting the new set of assets,
Right.
and that really help to overall scale number first and build the better quality creatives rather than doing the bulk job.
Right. Interesting perspective. Now, I mean, there are a lot of Google reports about the power of creator, right? How it actually drives the main campaign effectiveness. But when it comes to a growth marketing perspective, you're putting money, you're pushing a lot of media dollars, and then there is always like a debate between the creative output versus the kind of money that you're pushing. What's your stance on it?
So it is changing from 2010 to 2020 and now these days. Earlier, overall marketing dollars, whatever you are spending on Google, Meta, or programmatic or other platforms, earlier the major spend was on the display creatives.
Right.
Now, as TikTok came in India and
Hmm.
short videos is consumption of short videos is increasing and
Right.
attention of the user is less. At that moment, the video spend is increasing, and at large scale in any brand, in core performance marketing or in growth marketing, your video spend is close to 60-70%. Then you have to work on the videos. Static is just adding a layer to it that user saw a video, and then via statics that helps in your brand recall for
Right.
existing set of users.
Right. And now, like you mentioned, like we started with this the display campaigns, and now it has, I mean, from the growth marketing, from the performance marketing perspective, there are n numbers of touch points where you can target the users, and that also requires a very specific set of creative, because you have to talk to the user where they are. Do you think that creative fatigue could be a real blocker in that in that entire process, and how do you deal with that?
Creative fatigue is a biggest challenge these days, and when I say these days, from last 3-4 years. Before that, when display was the hero, then you upload the creatives easily. Your creative is running at least for a month. But
Right.
now in Google or Meta, you have to refresh your creatives at least 7 to 8 days or max on 15 days duration. And why creative fatigue is happening? Because there are multiple touch points of the user, and Google and Meta is throwing the creative to all set of users based on the targets that you assign to the machine learning.
Right.
Once any creative is stopped or underperforming, at that moment you will clearly see that one set of creative where the hook is good, performing very good, but after 8 days or 9 days, that creative performance is completely dipping,
Right.
and this directly impacts your cap. So creative fatigue is a challenge, and to solve that, your creative strategy should be in line that whatever the next set of creatives are there, at least you should be ready with all your creative repository for minimum 1 month. one
Right.
month ahead you have to work, else you will be you are going to spend and your CAC is shooting.
Absolutely. I think that's something that's a glaring challenge for all the marketers as well. Now, um, like I mentioned, there are so many nuance layers where, different types of creators are there. And in terms of any specific insight that you might have unlocked, that, a certain kind of a banner has worked well, and then it might have, helped you in building scale and growth, for your product. Any example, if you can share?
So I'll give you example of Jupiter. There we experimented multiple sort of creatives in terms of video, and statics was crystal clear that we are talking about the user problem and followed by our feature.
Hmm.
In videos we have to convey our product along with the benefit of our product to the user. and we did podcast style, we did face to cam videos, we did normal shoot videos, some internal employee videos as well. We experiment with multiple sort of videos or animation videos. Everyone is using influencer marketing. So what I did differently is we created videos via influencers, and then let's say 1 minute shoot was there, and then we write a script in that format that we can easily cut 3 4 videos out of that 1 minute shoot from the influencer, and then use in performance marketing, and that really helped us to scale.
Hmm.
And why influencer videos using in performance was working well for us, because in fintech is all everything is all about trust.
Hmm.
And when you are using a known face, and when I say known face, definitely we have done our research as well, that basis on RTG which kind of influencer we should work with. And using those face, using a performance marketing, that helped us scaling the campaigns, reducing the cap.
Right. And could you share, like, what's your process look like when you are mapping your creative for a brand, say Paytm or Jupiter? How does that planning look like? Because you are collaborating with the creative unit, and in terms of the campaigns, you have a lot of data to feed them because you understand the audience, the kind of audience you have to target. So what does the process look like when you are maybe in a boardroom and you are, jamming with the creative team? What does that process,
So look,
entails?
everything starts from your user persona, which user persona you are targeting. And I'll give you example of Paytm back in 2018, mid 2018, when our strategy was shifting from wallet acquisition or Paytm normal acquisition to UPI led acquisition.
Right.
And at that moment, other companies like GPay or PhonePe entered into the market, and they started penetrating the market as well. Back then we did a complete user research, because Paytm user base is from 18 to 70-year-old. We break all the user base into multiple pieces, from 18 to 24, 24 to 30, then male, female, Gen Z, all sort of around 24 user personas we have identified.
Hmm.
Then talk to those users, what is the problem, why they are switching from Paytm to other platforms, what's the core need of UPI, how we can solve that. Because if you talk about 18 to 24, they are offer seekers.
Hmm.
24 to 30, who just started working, they don't care about the offer too much. 30 plus, they're looking more towards convenience. Then similarly, between the age group of 30 plus, housewives or working women, if any housewife is using UPI, they will tell within their group. So we created multiple user personas, then crafted the communication, sit with the design team, content team. This is the user persona, this is the communication, this is the hook line, or this is the message that we want to convey to those set of users. Then sit with the creative and design team, crafted all our messages in terms of statics or videos, and then use in marketing. And this really helped us to scale our campaigns from, I would say, within 3 months we scaled our campaigns, whatever these we are spending, to 3x,
Nice.
and maintaining the same CAC.
Nice. So, I'm sure a lot of A/B testing you must have done to arrive at that framework, right? So, if you have to put in some rules for any brand, because I think this is a process that's required across the categories, right? Be it D2C, be it e-com, the process looks the same because you have to understand the users, you have to implement the right set of creative, right set of communication. If you have to put a couple of rules for the brands to follow without compromising on the quality, but at the same time you have the scalability in terms of the creative production, what would that be? Any one or two rules that's are that's something non-negotiable for you?
So look, creative testing is a ongoing process.
Right.
And in fintech especially, where trust matters, number first, and number second, that within a startup at Sahi, you have to tell what you are building, right? And for that, what we did is we cut all our USPs into multiple pieces. First, we identified the user problem. Then, what is our product? How this product is beneficial for that user. So, starting with the problem statement, and that is your hook. Second, you are talking about your product. And third, ending with CTA. You can experiment with 3-4 CTAs. Product hook, whatever the correct message you are to convey, that remains the same. Now the first is part is your 10-second hook that you can switch and experiment. So after experimenting, we come to a conclusion that this type of CTA is working well for us. Center part is your product hook that remains the same, and first is your center part is your product messaging that you want to convey, and first is your hook. Now we play the hooks, and then we arrived at a conclusion that this sort of video with this hook is working better. In Jupiter, I'll tell you that we were selling the RuPay credit card, and it is crystal clear after multiple experimentations that when we start with best RuPay credit card of 2025, then what is the 3 benefits of the credit card, and ending with the CTA. Now figure out, now just change the faces,
the permutation
combination, but these 3 things are working very well. For that, you have to definitely multiple hooks, initial taglines, and ending with your multiple CTAs. You have to experiment that.
Right. Makes sense. And I think that's a standard rule, that every brand across industry should follow. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. AI and templates, right? There are lots of course, the scalability has been achieved, but at the same time, there is a risk of standardization. When I say standardization, a lot of the ads might look similar when, especially when there are certain brands who are just experimenting. They've not gone into the depth of, how powerful AI can be in terms of creative. So how do you assess that risk, of maintaining the right level of optimization that can be achieved with such?
I think over standardization is not an issue, because at the end, you need a human who is going to manage the AI.
Right.
And especially if I talk about e-commerce or the travel vertical, there are 2 things. The first is message that you want to convey, and user just need to know the message. Second is you are actually telling a story and communicating the user via storytelling.
Right.
In e-commerce, big billion day sale is about to come, or multiple sales happening in travel, right? Where you are talking about 15% off on televisions, X% off on this. Why? Similarly, book your flight tickets from this to this, and you will get Y% off. These are the templates. These are the set standards. In that, you can create multiple creatives using AI, and user just need and the message that you want to convey to the user is 15% off on television. Second comes in FinTech, where you are actually talking that via this message or via this product hook, this is going to solve your problem. In that, AI is not going to help as of now too much. When you just convey your message in e-commerce or travel industry, you can work with AI and create bulk creatives, and their over standardization will not a problem. But especially in FinTech, you don't need bulk creatives. You need the messaging to be crisp, sharp, and at that moment, human intervention is much more required. Then use AI to reduce the things, and definitely AI is there, which is helping in adapts or other stuff, and that's free up the space of the designer, of the content person, and they are utilizing their time to give the better output, better quality.
Right. You mentioned about humans adding that value. So in terms of, see, insights, learning from the data, learning from the audience signals, there are lots of tools that can, you can collate all those interesting insights that can help your brands, help your campaigns. Now, where do humans add that irreplaceable value
In creatives,
in creative,
emotion.
especially with the
I
right,
would say one word, emotion.
right.
Second is basis on the user persona, basis on the user problem,
Hmm.
what the communication, what the hook
Hmm.
you want to convey that AI can't do.
Hmm.
The first frame, and as I mentioned earlier as well, that videos plays a very important role in today's scenario. In Sahi, if we are talking about solving a problem of trader audience, and we built single screen trading where
Hmm.
user can trade, set their stop loss, target price, everything via single screen. So there is a emotion attached
Hmm.
from a trader point of view because money is involved. A AI video can't help you in that.
Hmm.
If someone is watching a video ad of Sahi, at that moment, a trader is talking to another trader, and that emotion AI can't bring.
Right.
Second challenge I feel is when I was scaling my campaign from pan India to vernacular campaigns.
Right.
I tried dubbing using AI, but the output and the quality, because facial expression, the way you talk, that you can't deliver via AI. Then I go ahead and done shoot proper production shoots, and then working on those sort of videos.
Right.
That human emotion, that human talking to one person to another, that AI can't replace.
Right. And I agree to that, because I think from the emotion, trust, all of those perspective, I think AI still has a long way to go, and that is something that has to come organically from the main audience. Now, do you believe in the power of that single idea, or especially in fintech, do you think that a small evolving ideas from across the cohorts work? Because, see, from fintech, again, you're talking to a very nuanced audience across the markets. So, a smaller idea segment, does that work well, or just one powerful idea and that is something you can spread that across?
What is single idea? Single idea is the main message, the brand promise or brand identity that you want to deliver to the audience.
Right.
That's the main crux of the brand. Now, while running the growth marketing campaigns, while running user acquisition campaigns, you
Hmm.
have to break that single idea into multiple pieces. But all your creative element, all your marketing campaign will stitch to that single idea.
Hmm.
You take example of all 10-minute delivery. What they are doing, end concept is deliver everything in 10 minutes. Now you see the ads, every week they are creating multiple ads. Initial hook is changing with different product or a creative tagline, and then ending with 10-minute delivery.
Hmm.
So their creative team, their challenge is to create multiple assets for the same 10-minute delivery thing.
Interesting perspective, Manish. I think a lot of the times, I think since the last 2-3 years, that definition of creative and its objective has completely changed. And we're just talking, and how you mentioned that how creative is the new targeting. What do you have to say about that? I would want to learn more about that perspective.
So it's a debate that is AI a buzzword, and everyone is now talking about creative, creative, creative. I would say, and I ask these questions in my interviews as well. If you have to give weightage between machine learning versus creative versus the manual optimization that anyone is doing for their campaigns, then I would say that yes, machine learning is growing, and in today's world, the targeting, there is very limited scope of targeting. You can
Right.
set your budgets, you can enter your bids, then the event on which you want to optimize your campaign, either in Google or Meta. Then rest everything is your creative. And via creative, you have to touch different user personas, create different campaigns. So creative is a new targeting. If you have to reach out within, if I take the example of Sahi, within Sahi, right now we are targeting the core audience who are a trader. One, because these are the in-market audience, and once we scale, we will touch base the other set of user base as well. But at the end, our end goal for a business, because every startup as the business wants ROI. So at the end, our goal is that user come and transact and trade on our platform. But to reach multiple set of user personas, budget, bid, and event you set one day. After that, scaling the campaigns, you need different set of creative. So that's why creative is a new targeting in the current scenario.
Great. And what advice would you have for the founders or marketing leaders who underinvest in creative, who are still maybe going with the old playbook and pushing more media dollars instead of investing more into their creative strategy?
So earlier back then in Paytm, or I would say before 2020, in most of the startups, most of the companies, there is a separate budget for creative and then separate budget for marketing. So what I say is that as creative plays an important role. So first of all, you should invest decent amount of money in the creative, and I would say minimum 5% to 10% of the budget that you are spending spend on the creatives, and take that budget as a part of cap. If you are working on a creative and good set of creative, by default your CAC will reduce, let's say, by 10%, and you are spending 10% on the creative assets. So blended, your CAC will reduce, and take the creative budget as part of CAC budget, then there is no issue. It's totally depends on the marketer, that how many creatives a marketer needs, what is the A/B testing approach, and it's completely in their hand, because creative budget and at the end overall CAC he is going to manage.
Okay, Manish, before we wrap up, we'll do a quick fire round. First thing that comes to mind, you have to say it, right? So one FinTech ad you wish you had made.
So in BharatPe, when we launched 12% club, at the same time other competitors in the market is giving 9%, then we used a tagline, when you get 12%, why 9% when you get 12%?
Right. Okay. What's a bigger headache, compliance reviews or last minute creative changes?
I would say compliance.
Okay. An AI tool you actually trust in your workflow?
So as a team, we are using multiple AI tools, from Chat GPT to Claude to other AI tools. And in our company, we had that privilege as well, that use any AI tool of the use any paid AI tool and get it reimbursed.
Right.
So we have a very small lean team as well. We in Sahi, we are around 35 member team, which is running the overall show, from product, tech, marketing. I'm talking about overall company.
Right. What's more painful, a campaign that flops or a brilliant idea that never gets approved?
Brilliant idea that never gets approved.
Has it ever happened?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've covered it, but I think the audience would want to see like your one-line definition of how creative is the new targeting.
It's very simple, but because everyone is talking about it, everyone is measuring the CAC at creative level and other stuff, then people made it complex. If you talk about from the first principle approach, that what is the user problem, how your product is, marry your product with your user problem, and how it is benefiting to that end user. Simple, straightforward, write it based on the persona, marry with your product marry with your product, and then stitch that ad. You are going to, then you will create multiple set of ads, change the hook, do multiple A/B testing, and it would be easy.
Right. Great. Manish, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I think what I'm taking away from this insights in this insightful session is a lot of practical tips that you know the marketers can actually apply, because this remains true no matter what the age industry is across. And to whoever is listening, I hope you got a lot of practical insights and useful tips from Manish Srivastava, who's the head of growth at Sahi.com. We have a lot more to cover in the upcoming sessions. Stay tuned and keep watching. Thank you.